Adults, so this new curriculum is all well and good, but you're wondering, boots on the ground, nuts and bolts, what does this look like for your student in the art room on a typical art day? So assuming that all of the routines and procedures have been learned, which depending on the age of your student can take a long time or a little amount of time, your student will come in and they will have a stick and their name will be on it. At that point, there will be buckets. Sometimes there are 6 buckets like you see now, and sometimes there are as few as 1 bucket. On days where there is only one option, that's probably an assessment day. I will be taking assessment 3 times throughout the year to determine how they are doing with the invention process, which means it's not going to feel like a test to your student at all. In fact, please don't use the word test. Because they're going to be making artwork, and I don't want them to feel any sort of pressure while doing it. The purpose of these assessments is to see how well they're able to engage in the artistic process, or those abilities to invent and create new things. So that walks us into, they pick their studio, and then they go ahead and take a seat on the mat. While they are seated on the mat, they are going to have art magic to learn, which is their ability to look and apply the principles and elements of design while looking and learning about art history. This is different from what you and I experienced as a kid, because we probably experienced a unit. It was like the Picasso unit, and we learned about color, and we all made the same thing, essentially. Now, because your student is learning the invention process, right, we're engaged in STEAM, that doesn't work. So instead, your student is going to learn through something called spiraling the curriculum, which essentially means your student will dabble in Picasso multiple times, year after year, by getting exposed up there in about a 2 to 3 minute experience. They'll also have multiple exposures of information on the principles and elements of design, which is located there. So it's essentially the same learning, it's just in small little chunks rather than one long unit itself. After that, your student will have a 3 to 3.5 minute art tutorial. Now, once we get some technology into the art room, these tutorials will be based on the center that they selected. But until then, we'll be watching, right there, whole group on the big screen. Almost always these tutorials are made by me, because I can take a 10-minute experience, if you remember sitting around watching the art teacher, and I can shrink it into 3 and 3.5 minute video by using different voiceover options and by fast forwarding through different parts. Actually, the learning is significantly improved than doing it the old school method in my personal experience, because everyone is not only able to see completely, they've got a front row seat, but they see a zoomed in version of that. While the students are watching that, I am placing their sticks. So they might pick their center, but I pick their actual seat. Every once in a while, a student will select a center and there isn't going to be room for everyone. It is important as the adult in your student's life to know that I document that on the back of their stick so that I can share the love of not getting your first choice. After they have engaged in about 25 minutes of studio experience or center work, they then will come back into small group and they will share out their learning and their discoveries. This is one of the most important parts of the art experience, which is why any talking about what happens in this class at home actually deepens their understanding and their learning for that day. Then, from there, they go to documenting their learning, which is the fun part for you and I as an adult. They will record whether they were engaged in exploring, creating, responding, or presenting, which are the different parts of the artistic process. At the beginning and with the young guys, I will be documenting that part for them. Then they will also be recording which studio they were at. And then I have to let you in on a little secret. So I told you that I have 6 centers, and that is true. But I really only have 2 types of skills, art skills, that I need to teach them to introduce them into secondary. And then the beauty of art is that they're spread out like this. Essentially, the skills that they need are taught in printmaking, painting, and drawing. It's all the same skill, it's just a different tool. And then architecture, mixed media, and ceramics, again, different tool, but all the same skill. So I should see on your student's chart warm and cool colors. As long as I see that, I don't worry about them making their own choice. Every once in a while, though, they get stuck either in this process or here, and they need a little nudge from me to help get them to try new things or to figure out what is missing so that they can move on. Which gets me to, how do I do small group learning? This table located right here, I will collect your students generally every 5 art days, sometimes more, but probably not less, to individualize what they need to progress. It could be that they are advanced and need skills beyond what I am showing the other students. It could be that they're stuck and just needing help moving on, or fine motor skill, or they just need to talk. Whatever it is, know that about once every 5 art days, you should be hearing about them sitting in the center with Russell, which is super special. Thank you for taking the time to care and learn more about how the art room functions. Oh, contact me anytime you have questions. And don't forget to come and see me when you're here for parent-teacher conferences so you can look at your students' data and see what choices they're making. Bye.